So I've been working on expanding our forest here just a little bit. Now that we kind of have all the space to work with, we know, where the valley is going to end. You can see I mostly did kind of up in that region, but I thought I'd show you a little bit of my process of building all these trees while I'm doing this. So on these aspen tree lookalikes, I usually just start with the trunk, go up, 5 or 6 or 7 blocks or so. I vary it. I like a good variation in my canopy. All the trees aren't the same size in the forest, so they aren't in my forest. And then I start, I do just a little cross up at the top here, bring it all down, and bring just our 3 on each side here like so. This gives us just a nice basic shape to work with, but we don't have to, limit ourselves to that. I can come down and bring this down a little bit and bring this across, have some, dimension and volume to our tree. Just kind of make it organic, do it a little bit randomly, but just so as it looks nice, we're good. And I do keep in mind, like, all these trees are so close together, the canopies intersect, and it creates this very organic feeling. So each tree by itself doesn't need to be perfect, because it's going to be kind of mingled in with all the other trees once all is said and done anyways. But now our ponderosa pine trees that we're doing here, they're a little bit more complicated, a little more organic feeling, I guess. So I start with these 3 for the base in kind of an L shape, and I just bring this up, and then one of them I'll taper off, then bring these 2 up for just a little bit, then I'll taper off another one here, so that's just 1. And then what I've been doing is I like to put a little bit of a bend in the trunk, so I'll put one of our bark blocks here and here, and then just bring it up a little bit more. And of course these are much taller than our other trees, so I go up pretty high like this. Then I bring our leaves. And the leaves are tricky. It takes a lot of trial and error trying to get it to look just right, but I'll usually put 2 or 3 up on top, and just bring them down, creating sort of a conical shape at first, filling it out a little bit more as we go down, and then just bring it down all the way like so. A little bit too tall for me there. And eventually we'll just get a nice, good shape. I do like to leave just a little bit of bark exposed once in a while. I think that looks nice, a little more organic that way, more natural looking, I guess. And I always be sure to have just little bits kind of sticking out at ends, so it's not just flat, like so. Yeah, bring it out like this. And again, we're kind of intersecting with all of our other trees, but that's okay. At the trunk here, I'll just put, another bark block or so. Look like big roots coming out. But eventually, we'll get a nice organic shape. This isn't looking too bad, but, just a lot of standing back and looking at it and hating it and looking at it some more and maybe liking it. I don't know. It all happens. I missed a side there. Like this. There we go. Bring that out there. Bring that out there. We'll actually just trim back this right here. Leave a little bit of that trunk exposed. Maybe even trim back this block too. Oops, that was too many. Like that. Yeah, I don't know. Looks alright. Looks alright. But the tree building process is pretty simple like that. I just kind of go back and forth, slowly expanding our forest out in every direction. And before too long, it's going to be, a pretty immersive environment, I think. Just a whole lot of custom trees all the way around. You'll be able to kind of get, lost in the forest, and good luck right there. I think it'll be pretty cool. A pretty unique environment that way. But yeah. Anyways, I've also been doing a little bit of work in the town area, and that's where I want to spend most of our time today, is working in the town. But as you can see over here, I've started adding a few more buildings off to the left. I'm trying to fill this area out entirely so we can just spend the rest of our time, moving outwards. We can have some kind of completed areas. But this is going to be, I think, really more of just a residential section right here. All these are going to be houses, no shops, so they'll have interiors with beds and small kitchens and whatnot. But yeah, this is what I have so far. This building has nothing in it, but I'll come in here. I might adjust some of the heights of these buildings, but this is roughly what it's going to look like. I have a little bit of an alleyway in here, and I think I'll probably put another building back on this side to kind of end things off in this area. So when I start, building in an area like this, I like to think of how it's going to flow first of all, kind of the general feeling of the area. Is there going to be a staircase here? Where are the doors going to go? That sort of a thing. Punch a door in right here, I guess, and maybe a door right here. I don't know. And then I go about just, as I've done, blocking out things roughly. None of these are the finished shape by any means, but it's easy to get kind of stuck at this point, and so you start placing blocks down, I guess. And something I've done in this area is have this unifying theme of the birch and the sandstone. A lot of people struggle with using a block palette that's this diverse. It's really easy to get lost in all the colors and to kind of have a jumbled mess, but this area doesn't feel like that for a couple of reasons. Being that I have this common theme with our wood trims coming across on the sandstone. All the colorful blocks are, for the most part, hardened clay, which have these kind of muted tones. They're not as bright and vibrant as, say, concrete is, and it helps it to tone down the area quite a bit and keep it from being too distracting everywhere. But yeah, that's just a little bit of my thought process. We'll actually make this a little bit shorter, I think. I want this to be the top of the building. I don't want to be any taller than that at the moment. So we'll do, bring our sandstone trim all the way across here to remind us this is the top. Yeah, we'll just bring in our stairs and our slabs, like so. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I do like to mix it up just a little bit with our trim, so it's not so repetitive, but it's good to have, a common theme tying an area together like this. Keeps it from being too chaotic, and it helps it to feel like just one cohesive whole. As we go through here, you can see, there's the sandstone and the birch, and it's just, a subtle accent that really ties everything together. But I'm also, not afraid to use a lot of different wood types. I don't just stick strictly to that, as you can see. This area is a prime example, because you can see I have our dark oak, I have spruce, jungle wood, our oak over here, and the birch. I have every single wood type in this one area, except for acacia. But you don't really notice that just looking at it. It really ties it all together, though. So a little something I've been wanting to try out, and I did it in another part recently. All of my roofs, for the most part, are flat on top, and so I wanted to add a few sloped roofs in there. I feel like it was a little bit kind of boring, I guess. And also on like the roofs that you'd never get on top of, there's no real reason to have it flat. You weren't giving yourself any anywhere to build up there. So I want to just try a few sloped roofs here and there, see how it goes. And this, I like it right now. I think it looks pretty good. It's a little bit more variance in the area, which is good. You want a lot of elements to tie things together and create unity in the area, but you also want good variety as well. It's just about finding that good balance and knowing where to do what with it, I guess. But I think this looks good. It comes all the way up to the cliff face here, which is nice. It blends well with the area. I'm just going to bring this up here as well so that it all ties together. We'll put in, I think this actually goes over one more block. Bring it over. There we go. And then we can put sandstone stairs there, and a couple of slabs. Slabs here, bring that across there, and where does this go? Yeah, we'll bring this all the way up. But yeah, I don't have, a ton of plans before I approach a project, as you can clearly see. I just kind of go off of how I'm feeling, what I think is going to look good. But there we go. That's the roof all filled in. It looks a little bit massive. I may tweak that later, but you get the idea what I'm going for there. Yeah, this is most of the work I've done in the area. I think I want to put in a little bit of a balcony here, like that, offset a little bit so it's not all the way symmetrical. I don't love symmetrical things all the time. I like to have just things offset and varied. Yeah, we'll have a balcony there. I think it'll look good. I kind of like our windows that we've done, like over here, like this one, where it kind of comes out and across. I think that would be perfect for this area right here. I'll even be able to, what do I do over here? Yeah, I just did some sandstone ledging here, so I think I'll do the same thing with this. Place that wrong. Let's see how this looks. I'm not sure how I feel about this anymore. I think I'm gonna remove this and have it back how it was before, just straight across. I think that will look a lot better in this area. Bring this through, and of course I've run out of blocks. Just bringing in the pathway into this area now, and the paths can be really cool or not, depending on how you do them. Excuse me. And so I'm actually, taking a lot of thought into how this path is going. Now you can see kind of in the middle portions where it's going to be wore down a lot more is the path blocks, and around most of the path blocks I'm trying to place a bit more of the coarse dirt. Not completely surrounding it all the time, but enough to suggest that's kind of a muddier area, right? And it looks a lot more, well worn and traveled through, not as well maintained. Anyways, that's all I really have time to do today. But hopefully you're starting to see kind of how all these different elements come together and tie into making an area make sense and a little bit more immersive in that sense, bringing a bit of a life to your areas that otherwise wouldn't. I don't like to just do things super plain and boring. I like to bring elements, human elements into my areas, make it feel more lived in, less mechanical, I guess. But anyways, that's all I have time for today. Hope you enjoyed. This has been Cold Oatmeal, and I'll see you next time.